From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 6, streaming now.
But my wife just constantly kept letting them know I'm having severe pains in my abdomen, and she was pointing to the area where her liver is located.
Now at 6, a tragic loss sheds light on alarming racial differences in maternal mortality. The governor addressing the state as COVID-19 cases and deaths continue to increase. And now we have new information about a possible timeline for coronavirus vaccine in Indiana. Schools across Indiana are doing whatever they can to remain open and stop the spread of the coronavirus. One local district has taken a unique step that helps them quarantine anyone the moment symptoms set in. Record early voting turnout in Marion County has meant lines that are hours long. This is the first night of extended voting hours at the City County building downtown, and we are finding out if that's cutting down on wait times.
And Hurricane Zeta is making landfall in Louisiana this evening, spreading lots of rainfall our direction. When the wet weather will arrive and how much you can expect.
Good evening to you. I'm Amanda Starantino. First tonight, a rising number of COVID-19 cases and deaths while hospitals have fewer available ICU beds. Today, the Indiana Department of Health says there are 2,587 additional cases of the coronavirus. 169,112 Hoosiers have been diagnosed with COVID-19 during the pandemic. Data from the Department of Health also shows 33 additional deaths. A total of 3,991 people in Indiana have died with the coronavirus. And take a look at this. The Department of Health reports that 29% of ICU beds in Indiana are available. That is down from 34% of available ICU beds yesterday. And the big question many people have, when will a COVID-19 vaccine be ready? We have a little more insight on that tonight. Today, Governor Eric Holcomb and Indiana State Health Commissioner Dr. Christina Box talked about when Indiana could get its first vaccine shipments, and it could happen as soon as next month. Dr. Box said today that federal vaccine coordinators told her to expect some doses of the first vaccine by late November and possibly a second shipment by mid-December. It is unclear how much Indiana will get initially, but Dr. Box expects it to be a limited supply in the beginning.
The vaccine plan that we submitted to the CDC calls for initial doses to go to healthcare providers and other vulnerable populations. We have a team of internal and external partners that continues to work on our allocation plan to ensure that we are able to move the vaccine quickly once it arrives. We also have a team that will review the data to determine the populations in which the vaccine has been tested. This is a rapidly developing situation, so a lot is subject to change. But I want to emphasize is that this is a widely available vaccine to all people of all ages is still months away.
Dr. Box says right now your best defense against COVID-19 is to wear a mask, practice social distancing, and to practice good hygiene like hand washing. Schools across central Indiana are facing challenges daily trying to remain open and avoid spreading COVID-19. Our Nicole Griffin is in Hancock County tonight, where one school district is finding a way to quickly isolate students with symptoms. It's a solution that is now benefiting a local business.
Did you wash your hands today? Are you washing your hands before you eat? Are you wearing your mask?
This is the conversation Ashley Lusby has with her two children who attend Mount Vernon Community Schools.
There is not a day that goes by that I don't think I remind them of the situation, not in a way that creates fear, but in a way that just encourages them.
One of her daughters is in 8th grade at Mount Vernon Middle School. According to the state's COVID-19 dashboard, 5 students at her school have tested positive for the coronavirus this year. Right now, Lusby's biggest fear is
having to go back into quarantine, or for my middle schooler to miss out on middle school sports and activities.
Leaders at Mount Vernon Middle School say teachers and students have responded well to expectations like social distancing, wearing masks, and sanitizing. When someone does show symptoms, they utilize this new temporary quarantine room.
Middle school, due to the unique size and how tight it is in their clinic, we needed space for multiple quarantine rooms.
So therefore, when we have a student who has COVID-like symptoms, flu-like symptoms, and they need to go home, we can quickly isolate them.
Hamilton Exhibits, based out of Indianapolis, started developing the rooms after seeing a need for schools to safely reopen. The marketing company specializes in trade shows and has been hit hard by the pandemic.
These are offered at cost. So Hamilton is not making any profit on these. It is simply to keep our people employed and to do a good service and get businesses and schools. Let's get this economy back up.
Lusby says knowing that the temporary quarantine room is available to help reduce the spread of the virus eases some of her stress and anxiety when it comes to her child's safety.
Being able to immediately separate someone, you can't really replace that because we don't have the building space to dedicate an entire room to a situation like that.
Working for you in Hancock County, Nicole Griffin, WRTV.
According to Mount Vernon Community Schools health and safety plan for COVID-19, if the combined student and staff absentee rate hits 20%, county health officials may move school to virtual learning for a short time. According to the district's COVID-19 tracker, out of more than 4,900 students and staff members, about half of 1% have tested positive since August 17th, the first day of school. And with COVID-19 cases and deaths still rising as we head into flu season, we want to remind you of some of the similarities and differences between the coronavirus and the flu, because those viruses have similar symptoms. The CDC says both COVID and the flu cause fever and chills, coughing, shortness of breath or difficulty breathing, fatigue, sore throat, runny and stuffy nose, body aches and headaches. One difference is that flu viruses can cause mild to severe illness. COVID-19 seems to cause more serious illnesses in some people. Other signs and symptoms of COVID-19 different from the flu may include a change in or loss of taste or smell. Also, if a person has COVID, they may be contagious for a longer period of time than if they had the flu. And right now you can find all of the updated COVID-19 numbers, what they mean, plus tips to help you through everyday life during the pandemic up right now on WRTV.com/coronavirus.
We have had the clouds all day long in central Indiana and the rain not too far behind. You can see some light rain now overspreading south portions of the Hoosier State here. And as we look at TrueCast at 10:30 tonight, there you see that green overspreading many locations here, and we could have some moderate to possibly heavy rainfall going into tomorrow morning. This is TrueCast at 6:30. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a soggy start to our Thursday. We're looking at this event bringing 1 to 2 inches of rain, possibly a little bit more in southern locations. And south of I-70, we could have some isolated flooding issues, although the ground has had some time to dry out. And winds will be breezy. We'll have some of those gusts around 20 to 30 miles per hour as we go through the day tomorrow. Right now with clouds, temperatures in the 40s to around 50. We will hold those numbers pretty steady here with those cloudy skies and rain chances increasing. We'll break down your Thursday hour by hour in just a few minutes.
In Democracy 2020, early voting continues to draw huge numbers of people to the polls. This is video from this afternoon from the St. Luke's early voting location on the north side of Indianapolis. More than 1,258,000 people have voted early so far. That's according to numbers from the Secretary of State's office compiled by the U.S. Elections Project. The total number of votes cast is equal to nearly 45% of the final presidential vote in Indiana in 2016. Early voting runs through November 2nd. Election Day is November 3rd. And we are less than a week away from Election Day now, and early voting centers continue to see a record turnout day after day. According to the clerk's office in Marion County, at least 20% of registered voters have already cast their ballot. And with that record turnout comes some long waits and long times at early vote centers. This is the first day of extended hours at the clerk's office to help keep up with demand. Megan St. Torm is live downtown at the City County building. Megan, how are those lines right now?
Well, Amanda, right now the wait to vote is about an hour and a half. And this is actually one of the shorter lines we've seen today, and it's much shorter than the line was up at St. Luke's on the north side, where some people we spoke with say they waited more than 4 hours to cast their vote. Spending that amount of time on a weekday isn't always easy, but those we spoke with said it's worth it to make sure their voice is heard.
It's just a sea of people. With long lines of people.
I thought that, maybe it would be a long line, but I didn't expect an entire block of the parking lot to be filled out.
This was the line at St. Luke's around noon today.
People coming this late are probably terrified.
And there's like 10 or 12 rows.
Yeah.
I mean, it felt like we was at Kings Island for a minute. I mean, the way the line wraps around.
We're pretty busy out here today.
At one point, the estimated wait time was close to 6 hours.
Oh, it's 6 hours?
6 hours.
Hopefully it's not.
That seems like a long time. I think it was like 3 when we got here. But 6.
3 hour wait. People need to do what they have to, whatever's necessary to have their voices be heard.
I work nights, so I just came after I dropped my niece off at school. I just came straight here.
I planned on doing it before work.
I planned ahead and moved some things around my schedule so that I could take some time out to vote today.
I took the day off work so I could do this.
I just told them I'm not going to be there today. I mean, just basically just took the day off and just had to get it done. Because something has to be done today.
I work from home and it's a lot easier for me to do it.
Bringing chairs, snacks, books, and tablets. Many came prepared to spend a good part of their day here.
From 9 a.m. to 1:02 p.m.
Yeah, but it was worth the wait.
It's your one chance to have your say.
It's the only time where it's like, I feel like I'm like equal from everybody. This is when I vote. It's like nothing's classified. You don't have to be poor or rich, nothing. You can just go and vote.
Every vote counts, right? It's part of like our democracy.
Just the economy that we in, you know, we just, you know, you can't say nothing if you don't do nothing. So we wanted to make sure we got out here and vote, you know.
A lot of people are showing up that didn't show up in 2016. That's for 100% sure.
We asked the Marion County Clerk's Office if the hours would be extended at those satellite early vote locations to accommodate the turnout there. They said the clerk only has authority to extend the hours here at the clerk's office downtown. They would need a unanimous vote of all 3 board members to extend it at those satellite locations as well. Working for you, Megan Sanctorum, WRTV.
Thank you, Megan. And the Marion County Election Board is considering adding another early voting location to alleviate long lines. It would be at Lucas Oil Stadium. However, Indiana law requires a unanimous vote of all 3 members of the County Election Board in a public meeting to approve the addition of an early voting site. The public meeting is happening Friday at 10 a.m. If the Election Board approves the addition of Lucas Oil Stadium as an early voting site, it would be open for voting Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. On Tuesday, it's Election Day live here at WRTV, your place for local, updated coverage all day from the polls. And we are looking at key races, analysis, and results when they come in. Look for us on the WRTV app, on streaming devices such as Roku, Apple TV, Fire TV, and Android TV. We will also provide you live results throughout the night here on WRTV with a complete wrap-up on the news at 11. The Indianapolis medical community is mourning a loss of one of their own tonight. The death of the 30-year-old mother is bringing to light alarming racial differences in maternal mortality rates. WRTV's Troy Washington shares one family's heartbreaking story and explains why minority women seem to be at higher risk of dying from pregnancy complications.
Shanice Wallace had an infectious smile, one her daughter Charlotte won't get the chance to experience.
Shanice was very brave.
Things had been fine throughout her pregnancy up until a routine doctor's appointment where she was diagnosed with preeclampsia, a dangerous pregnancy complication. In her case, she had high blood pressure, and it was a month before her due date. Things escalated quickly from there.
My wife just constantly kept letting them know I'm having severe pains in my abdomen, and she was pointing to the area where her liver is located.
He says doctors rushed the mother in for an emergency cesarean, but once baby Charlotte arrived, things never truly turned around.
I ended up crying, but she reassured me. She said, baby, it's gonna be okay. And she actually had to encourage me in that moment.
Since his wife was a physician finishing up her residency here in Indianapolis, Wallace says he believed her. That was their last interaction before she passed away.
African-American women and women of color, but primarily African-American women, are 3 to 4 times more likely to die during pregnancy or delivery than any other group of women.
Dr. Lindy Randall Hayes says this outcome is a problem, but not a new one.
We know studies have shown that this is a problem. Race in and of itself changes the outcome, is a factor in the outcome of Black women surviving pregnancy and delivery. We got to change that.
She says it'll take advocacy and education to turn the tide. As for now, the Wallace family is left looking for the silver linings.
My wife will live on through our daughter, Charlotte, and that I still have a piece of my wife here with me.
Shanice leaves a legacy behind her in saving 5 lives.
Working for you, Troy Washington, WRTV.
Shanice Wallace was able to save 5 lives because she was an organ donor. Black celebrities, including Serena Williams and Beyonce, have been very vocal about their own experiences giving birth, and the complications they encountered. Experts say in order to make real change, it will take treating women of color with the same urgency and attentive ear as any other patient, as well as removing unconscious bias.
Needing to layer up lately with those cool temperatures, and it looks like the below average trend will continue here the next several days when we'll finally snap this cool stretch.
The Colts are back after their bye week. The November calendar includes the season's toughest matchups. We'll look ahead to week 8 coming up in sports.
Our average highs in the lower 60s. We did not get there today. Stuck in the upper 40s and lower 50s thanks to that blanket of cloud cover. Didn't really see much thinning of the clouds out there either. 51 for you right now in Greenfield and Lafayette, 52 in Columbus, and just 48 degrees in Peru. So we've got the chilly temperatures with the clouds, but we are about to add the rain. There you can see it spreading over the Ohio River here now. Some light rain into southern portions of Indiana, and it is ahead of Hurricane Zeta making landfall in Louisiana, and there it is. Max winds of 110 miles per hour. 1 more mile per hour, 111, would make it a major Category 3 hurricane there at landfall. Here's a look at TrueCast. We get to midnight tonight. We will be seeing the rain ahead of the hurricane and a couple of other things that are coming together here across central Indiana, and that will make rainfall fairly efficient. Could have some moderate to possibly heavy rainfall at times across central and southern parts of Indiana. Maybe an isolated rumble of thunder. Not really expecting much in the way of thunderstorm activity. But even as we get to noon tomorrow, still going to need maybe the rain jacket, because we are going to have some breezy conditions, so you might have to fight with the umbrella a little bit. 5 o'clock tomorrow evening, still raining in downtown and areas like Columbus into Nashville, but you should be dry in Lafayette and Kokomo for the evening drive there. And then we'll all start to dry things out as we get into tomorrow night. Rainfall, it continues to fluctuate a little bit, certainly looking at the heaviest amounts across areas, say Bloomington, Columbus could see 1 to possibly some areas of 3 inches. And then we get a little closer to I-70, about 1 inch to 1.5 inches, and about 1/2 inch for northern communities here. But those southern areas around Bloomington, Columbus, areas south, that's where we've got that flood watch in effect. We could have some minor flooding issues. I don't think it's going to be any flash flooding, but we'll certainly keep an eye on it for you. Clouds and a breeze tomorrow keeps us cool once again. Temperatures upper 40s to around 50 degrees. And there's that breeze. At times could gust around 20 to 30 miles per hour. Notice it's out of the north. So that's going to keep the temperatures cool, not only throughout our Thursday, but Friday as well. 50 degrees, should see a little more sunshine there. It certainly comes back here for the start of the weekend. Should be windy though on Sunday, still a north breeze. So that brings our highs back in the 40s before we start to warm things up a little bit back finally into the 60s for highs. Should feel pretty good by Wednesday, Amanda.
The Colts are done with their bye week and getting ready for a big matchup this weekend against the Detroit Lions. WRTV Sports' Brad Brown shows us how the Colts are looking after the bye and previews the matchup with the Lions.
So how good are the Colts? Pretty quickly, we're all about to find out. Indy comes off its bye week with what should be some good momentum after a rousing win over the Bengals. Rested, ready to roll? Well, a warm-up to the main event comes this weekend against the Lions.
We focus situationally, offensively, certainly some of the areas that, that have been duly noted that we work as up to our standards in third down and red zone.
After that, the Colts will have to run the gauntlet through November. 4 straight games against teams that are all currently 5-1. The Ravens, the Packers, and 2 matchups in 17 days against AFC South leading Tennessee.
No guy on this defense is worried about stats and rankings. That's pretty good outlook coming out of each game. Ranked as one of the best, but that's not that's not our main focus.
The Lions won't be a pushover either. Detroit has won 3 of its last 4, including a late comeback win in Atlanta last weekend.
The one advantage is it's a chance to get healthy. So to the degree that you can get players healthy and get more guys playing, I think that's the biggest advantage.
Detroit has lost its first 2 home games to start the season. Cars turning laps on the oval on a cold day at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. 2020 Indy 500 champion Takuma Sato and last year's IndyCar Series champion Joseph Newgarden, both beginning testing for Honda and Chevrolet respectively toward next year's 500. Also here on the oval for the first time is Scott McLaughlin, the 27-year-old Australian, a 3-time champion in the Supercars Series. He'll be racing full-time for Team Penske in IndyCar in 2021. Testing is scheduled to continue Thursday, that's weather permitting. Most of the IndyCar Series will test at Barber Motorsports Park in Alabama on Monday. Butler's men's basketball schedule is coming together. The Big East announcing pre-Christmas games, including 3 for BU. The Bulldogs will open at home against St. John's on December 14th. A trip to Villanova 2 nights later. Providence comes to Indy on the 23rd. Butler was picked 8th place in the Big East preseason coaches poll. BU officials say they are working on protocols to have fans at Hinkle Fieldhouse for games this winter. Those will be announced along with more games in the weeks ahead. Brad Brown, WRTV Sports.
Even as we're looking at the arrival of November this weekend, this is a very cool 7-day forecast, and it does come with widespread rain tomorrow. Again, areas near and south of I-70 could see totals of 1 to possibly 3 inches of rain. A little breezy there, but it does dry out going into the weekend. Sunshine finally returns on Saturday. We've got just 49 the high on Sunday.
Thanks so much for joining us. Join us again for the news at 7.